Hey, Chamber members, Alan Waters here, your Marketing and Communications Coordinator with the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce with your Words of Wisdom podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, you will see there's a video element that is going to be included in future episodes, and we're going to utilize this when we're meeting with our sponsors and we're meeting with guests, so that we've got an element that's for YouTube only. But also, of course, as a podcast, we are going to be on Spotify. We're going to be on our website. We are still working on Apple Podcast. We will get there. But this is kind of the new pieces. You'll see we've got some microphones. We've got boards set up that we're going to be utilizing. It's going to be a great, great thing. Today, it is just me, just your marketing guy. But we're going to be talking about something that is a little personal. It's going to be something that changes for everyone. It's going to change for your business. For some people, it is what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's your why statement. We're going to be talking about your why statement. We're going to be talking about memory phrases, and we're going to be talking about taglines. And many of these people kind of mix together. So let's break down what are the differences. So with a why statement, for instance, a why statement, it's the heartbeat of your business identity, answering not just what you do, but why you do what you do. What gets you out of bed each morning? What gets you into the office? Why do you do that? It's the narrative that connects with your audience on an emotional level. It's prompting them to choose you over the competition. And an effective why statement transcends the transactional nature of business. That sounds so formal. The why statement really, it's putting your heart on your sleeve. It is telling people why you're doing what you're doing, and people do business with people. We say that all the time here. I probably have a running count of at least 50 times in the past 5 episodes of saying that, but it's important. It's a big deal, and it's a large part of why people choose you, and that's what you need to look into as your why statement. Now, the taglines are described as like mic drop moments. A great tagline is memorable, it's defining, and it summarizes the essence of your brand in a few impactful words. It's the slogan that gets plastered on billboards, it ends the commercial, it lives on the tip of your tongue for your customer base. This is something that every single time you talk about your business, it needs to be the thing that wraps stuff up. Now, I will say this gets confused a lot with memory phrases, and I understand why. Memory phrases are very similar. They're kind of like the chorus of your favorite song. They're not going to tell you the whole story. They're just the part that you're going to remember, you're going to be able to sing along to. So a memory phrase, just like that tagline, is something that's getting inside people's heads and making sure that every single time they think about it, that's what they're going to. So that is the difference between a memory phrase, a tagline, and a why statement. Now, when we get into this and breaking it down a little bit more, obviously the why statement is a lot more personal. And that's part of why I kind of wanted to have this moment just me to the audience, because I'm going to talk about my why statement, what gets me out of bed each morning, and this is something that drives my life. And that's what I want to say. A why statement doesn't have to be business centric. It does not have to be about your company. A why statement really should be about you. Now, a company should, of course, have a why statement, but the why statement matters a little bit more when you get down to that employee level and seeing why your employees are working with you, why they're working for you, and why they're doing what they do. What in this industry drove them to that? So when you're getting down to crafting your why statement, there's a couple of things that you want to look at. To formulate it effectively, you got to kind of soul search a little bit. You need to reflect on your origins. Think back on why you started your business, or think back on why you started at this company. What was the spark? Understanding your original intent can really help show why you made that path forward. Identify your impact. Ask yourself what change you want to see in the world or in your customers' lives because of your work. Be authentic. A why statement, if you're faking it, people can tell. People can really tell when you're not being genuine. So you've got to be authentic. You've got to be genuine in this why statement. Keep it simple. Making sure that it's clarified. A complex statement can be impressive, but it's going to lose some of its power just because people have to listen through all of it. So making sure that you're simple so that it actually sticks with people, and inspire action. A great why statement not only explains your purpose, but also inspires people to engage with your brand. So an example I have here is, imagine you run a coffee shop. A why statement could be, we believe in fostering community through the warmth of great coffee. Simple, reflects on your impact, and it's authentic. Now, when you get into me, what is my why statement? Why am I doing what I do? It's a long story. Mine is not very succinct, but I'm not a company. I'm not looking at it on the company standpoint. I'm looking at this as Alan Waters. What gets me out of bed every morning? What makes me come to the chamber? What makes me do what I do in the community? And it goes back to a backstory of Rachel and I. Rachel's my wife, if you don't know. We both lived in New York for about 5 years. We were doing theater and film. That's our background, is production and media. And we were there when COVID hit. It changed a lot. Suddenly, we went from being booked all the time to a lot of the companies we were working with didn't exist or wouldn't exist in just a couple of months. And we had no idea of what was going on. So we came down to Christiansburg. We had a location that we could stay because Rachel's parents owned it. They hadn't gotten around to selling it. And so we moved in. We were sure we were going to go back to New York. It was just on the mind that, yeah, when this is all over in a couple months, we're going to go back. No one knew what the impact of 2020, what COVID was going to do to everyone. So we were here, we were getting ready. We knew we were going to go back at some point. And then May of 2021, my middle brother, Corey, passed away. It was just a swimming accident, not something anyone could have seen. Oftentimes, that's what death is. You don't see it coming. And when we went home to Georgia, which is where I'm from, for his funeral, we saw how many people came around, how many people supported my family, how many people just kind of came out of the woodwork, it felt like, and were impacted by the fact that we were in the community with them, they were in the community with us, and that community is really what drove everything. We got to his viewing, and obviously it's something that I don't really remember much of because it's a traumatic event. It's a lot going on. You are really tired. There's a lot that goes into it. We can unpack that in a different episode. But when we were sitting there, the one thing I do remember is at the viewing, there was a line for almost 4 hours outside the door of people coming in. And I realized through everything, I'm going to try not to get emotional. I realized through all of this how important community is to someone's life and how important community is for just making a difference in the world. You can't make a difference, you can make a difference on your own, but making a difference is a lot easier when you've got a community and a group of people around you supporting you through what you do. That's what drove us to stay here. That's what drove me to get more involved in my community, is the aspect of I wanted to build one. And we realized we couldn't move back to New York and have the same thing. So we stayed here. And I got involved with the chamber. I got involved with a couple of other community aspects. And the more I got involved, the more I realized that just by being there, just by being present, just by being a helping hand, and just by doing the legwork, I was seeing changes in the people around me. I was seeing changes in the businesses around me. I was seeing positive growth. And I realized, again, just how important it is in a community that everyone do what their part. And so that's my long drawn out why statement. My why statement is I realize that the community, nothing exists without community. And so that's my why statement. That's why I get out of bed every morning. Community is why I get out of bed every morning. It's coming in, it's helping people. It is being someone that people can lean on when times are tough, and being someone that someone can call when times are good. I want to be that for our members too. We understand business is difficult. It is a difficult environment right now. The economy is not something we can always count on. And part of that is going back to the basics and realizing what some of this is for you. Why do you do what you do? And let that be your driving factor. When I got hired at the chamber, one of the things that we talked about was our tagline, our connect, engage, prosper. If we make sure that we as chamber members and we as chamber staff are always going back to that, we are always going back to those principles, we will continue to do good. When we start getting away from those principles, when we start getting away from the why statement of things, that's when we lose some of those aspects. So that's my why statement. Use it to craft your own as well. What is it that drives you? What is it that you want to actually provide back? And then see why you're doing it, making sure you're getting out of bed for the good reasons, and making sure that when you're getting out of bed, when you're doing those things, it is taking an impact on what you do. Chamber members, do you want to be featured on this podcast? Well, this is your opportunity. As sponsors for our podcast, you are featured in that first 15 minutes where we're going to talk about you, your business, what success means to you, what you think success means to the world, and in your industry, how can you be successful? All of these things we'll be talking about with you as your sponsorship, and then we will have an ad just like this placed specifically for you. We can record it. It can be a live read by myself, or if you already have something for your business that you want played, we can put it here. The rule is it's got to be 60 seconds or under, and we're ready to go. So members, if you want to be a part of that, this could be you, and we look forward to talking more about it. Make sure to reach out for more information at marketing@montgomerycc.org. That's marketing@montgomerycc.org. Back to the episode. All right, now let's get over to the memory phrase. So I liken a memory phrase to, it is something that's always going to stick in your head. And I said that before, but a memory phrase is something that if you don't remember anything else about a company, you know their memory phrase, you know their tagline. I can give you some good examples. When you go, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it, I don't need to tell you the name of that company. I don't have to tell you anything about that. You know who I'm talking about. Those are the things that really work with a memory phrase and a tagline. That's what you're aiming for. You want people to take that for the rest of their lives, and you don't want them to get it out of their head. It doesn't have to be a jingle. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just needs to be something that's really descriptive of who you are. Same thing with that tagline. So when you're looking to create these and you're looking to craft your memory phrase and your tagline, there's a couple of things you need to make sure and take care of. You've got to embody your brand's presence. Your tagline should distill your brand spirit in just a few catchy words. Catchy is the key word here. This is a marketing tactic, and it's a marketing thing that you have to focus on. Make it memorable, whether that's rhyme, alliteration, rhythm, whatever you do to make it stick. And the descriptor I did in this, and I don't know why, is stickier than a caramel latte. That's a horrible description, but if you were a coffee shop and you made your caramel lattes really sticky, that could be your tagline. I don't recommend it, but that's what you need to do. It needs to be something that no matter what, when you walk away from a conversation, that's what's going to be on top of people's mind. Focus on the benefits. Highlight what's in it for the customer. They want to know why they should choose you. So the ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it, obviously is not telling you much about the company. It's not telling you about things. That's why that's more of a memory phrase, not a tagline. And when you have these brands that are nationwide, you're going to find more often than not what you're hearing, what you're seeing more than anything is their memory phrase, not their tagline, because they don't have to tell you about the highlights. They don't have to tell you about what they do. You are going to associate that phrase with them no matter what. And it works. When you're a more local scale, you have to focus in on what you do, because if you take a business name and you have no idea what it stands for, let's look at a TV show, for example. I know many people listening may be familiar with the TV show The Office. It focused on a company called Dunder Mifflin. One of the funniest aspects I found of the show is when they're talking at one point about what the company does and when they're telling other people about the company they work for. So many people think they sell mufflers or mittens or muffins. All of these things, if you don't have a nice tagline, you don't have a nice memory phrase that works with your company name, you're going to be missing out on a lot. You need people to know by your company name and your tagline what you do. Because if not, what reason do they have for coming to you? What are they going to do when they're searching Google? They're not going to see your company name and go, oh, I immediately know what's going on. So that's the biggest part about all of this. So making sure you know what's in it for the customer, why they should choose you, and what you offer. Be versatile. A good tagline translates well across different media, survives the test of time. Now, I'm not saying your first foray out the gate, you're going to get this perfect. But the good thing is you want to keep workshopping You want to be working with your customers, and you want to let them tell you what to do. Before you get into a lot of your branding and your marketing as a company, the first few years, you don't have much. You don't have a brand if you don't have years of experience and you have customers. It takes time before you build a brand. And once you've taken that time, you can then ask your customers, what is it about you? What is it that you do that signifies your brand to them? Now, I'm not saying when you start out, you shouldn't have a succinct logo and website and all of that. That's also a part of brand. That's also a part of branding. But when you are first starting out, unless you're moving over from something else, you don't yet have a personal identity or personal brand as a part of your company. So you have to work on that. And that's part of working on your tagline, working on your why statement, working on your memory phrase. The fifth step, test it out. Run your tagline by people outside of your business. If they get it, if they remember it, if they know what you're doing, you're good. If they are confused, you need to go back to the drawing board. And that's okay if it keeps going back and back and back and back and back until you find the right one. Let's look at a company that everyone knows. Look at Oreo. Oreo's not the original. Oreo is the knockoff brand. But they got to where they were because they went back to the drawing board, saw what this other company was doing incorrectly, and they perfected that piece. It's the same cookie as the original. And here's something, I cannot name the original cookie. I know it in the back of my mind what it is, but I cannot tell you the name of the original cookie right now. That's how well Oreo came out, and they perfected that part. And that's what you have to work on. We're going to go back to the coffee shop as a tagline. It could be unwind, connect, sip on happiness. I think that's a little bit long for a tagline. When I'm looking at a tagline, I suggest that you're looking at one sentence. You're really looking at something that is 3 to 5 words, because when you're looking at your tagline, you want it to fit on all of your branding. You want it to be on all of your commercials. You want it to be on all of your stickers. You want it to be on all of your logos. You want it to be on your website. You want it to be everywhere. And in order to do that, it needs to be succinct and it needs to be small enough that it's short. It needs to invoke a positive feeling, and it also needs to just fit. That's the reality. It's got to fit. That's so much about what branding and marketing is making sure you are utilizing as much space as you can without it being too much. And it's a hard line to draw. Personally, when I look at that, unwind, connect, sip on happiness, I'd break all that down. I'd say sip on happiness, because that is, it talks about who you are. It makes sure when people are talking about your coffee shop, let's just say the coffee shop, sip on happiness. Right there, it gives the environment of when you come into that coffee shop, it's a happy environment. You're able to relax. You're able to take your coffee and enjoy it, and you're going to get something out of it that is going to bring you joy. So that's why you're looking at it. When you then combine your why statement with a tagline in your marketing toolkit, it's like having a compass and a map. They guide your brand's journey. They ensure your audience can follow along with ease and keeps them clear, authentic, and it makes it resonate so your brand is not just seen, it's remembered. That's tough. I'm not going to pretend like it's an easy thing to do, and it's something you have to workshop. And if your company has a marketing department, great. You have someone that can work on that with you. If you don't have a marketing department because you're a small business, you might have to look at, is it time financially to go outside and look and get marketing help? Or is it worth it for me to bring someone in for marketing? What timeline are you at? What do you have? Where you can go from there? If you're a big company, it's a matter of, great, let's look at my department. Let's look at the people we hire outside and break that down and make sure that we're succinct. You also have to keep this up to date. Now, if you're a national brand, if you're a brand that is so stable, you have no reason to go back to the drawing board, then I want to ask you, is your information, is it applicable to 2023? Or is it something that feels stagnant because it was created in 1993 and you've not updated anything since then? I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying look at those elements, because that provides a big stepping stone as you look at all of this. All right, and then we're going to break down one more part. When you take these elements, the memory phrase, the tagline, the why statement, when you use them effectively, they can be powerful tools for businesses of all size. When any tool that you use, social media, marketing, newsletters, anything on the marketing side of things. When you use something that can be a very powerful tool, correctly, it is powerful and is helpful. Incorrectly, it can be very dangerous and it can be destructive to your business. You don't want to, when you workshop, you want to workshop these things to a small select group of people. You don't want to workshop a brand new change to the entire world, because if it goes badly, then it's going to go badly. There is no stopping that. All of these pieces, they serve as the hook in your pitch, the banner in your campaign, and the echo in the minds of your consumers. They're not just words, they're tools, and when wielded with precision and creativity, they can take your brand to the next level. So when you're brainstorming your next marketing campaign, when you're working with your marketing department, or you're looking at your outside help, remember the immortal words of Shakespeare. Brevity is the soul of wit. In modern marketing, this translates to the power of a punchy phrase that can capture the imagination of your audience so they never let it go. So, again, as I leave off all of our podcast, and the reason I do this is because this is our tagline. This is what represents the chamber. It's what represents our members. So remember what you've listened here today. Make sure you're utilizing it to the best of your ability, and go out, connect, engage, and prosper.